And some of y'all may have heard Ms. Kienzle address me as Mr. Ramsey, but in other circles, I've also been called Barefoot Alex, and you probably can see why from this picture, even though it may be small, is that a preference for me running over the last decade or so has been without shoes. So we can answer some of those questions maybe later on as to why I resonate with that style of running. But as for now, if you do want to, Google Barefoot Alex, you might find some interesting articles and pictures. All right. So also made mention earlier was the history and the background of Spartathlon. So if you're familiar with Greece, this is the map, and this is the route in which recreates the ancient footsteps of Pheidippides, who in 490 BC was enlisted by the Athenian army to enlist the help of the Spartans in Sparta to help against the encroaching army of the Persians. Yeah, it was believed that Pheidippides actually ran from to Sparta. Sorry, Athens to sorry, the marathon to Athens, where he died after 26.2 miles. But before he did, yelled victory or Nike, if you're familiar with Nike, uh, immortalizing that. But it was actually recorded in history that he finished 153 miles in a day and a half. So the Spartathlon pays homage to Pheidippides' ancient pursuit to share the message to the Spartans. All right. So this is a picture of me. This wasn't. This wasn't. This was not always me. Okay. So the reason why I put this slide on the deck is because I didn't just arrive to able to run 153 miles. It definitely takes a lot of time and effort and energy to get to this point, and I want to discuss a little bit with that. But before I do, I just want to say it was a tremendous honor to represent the United States at this historic event. So how did I get there? This slide's going to be a little too blurry, so I'll just go ahead and rehash. But most importantly, I actually got my start in running at North Canton Middle School. Maybe like some of y'all who are on the track and field team or maybe the cross country team are actively involved in training yourselves. Maybe you're running 1 mile now, or maybe you're on the track running 200 meters or various other events. But it's actually in those halls where you're actually going to school today is where I got my start. I ran the 400 meters and also the 800 meters for the middle school. That then translated to having success at the high school level, and I then continued to run in college at the University of Cincinnati, where I ran the 800 meters, which is 2 laps around the track. After college, I then transitioned to longer distance running. I had put in a lot of practice and had logged a lot of miles and training. So I was able to translate that endurance to 100-mile races, 135-mile races, and eventually got to the point where I was able to run from California all the way to the White House, covering a distance of 3,100 miles in the span of 4 months. So I want to just make mention that anything is possible if you just continue to practice. If you love what you do, then great things are sure to happen. The Spartathlon has a very strong qualifying standard in which you must adhere to. Over the last 365 days, I had been really, really training as hard as I could in order to get a spot on the Spartathlon team. Several events that I ran were actually created eligibility for me to enter a lottery, where I was then chosen at random to be a member of the team. Now, mind you, the lottery only had a 4% chance of my name getting picked. So I was crossing my fingers. I was hoping like heck that everything would go smoothly. And sure enough, that 4% chance, the favors uh, was rewarded to me, and my name was called. So I arrived to Greece with my family, and this is the first time I had ever been out of the country. So of course you can imagine the language is different, the sheer traveling. It was a 10-hour plane ride just to get there, and also just other customs that we take advantage for, that we are so accustomed to here in the United States just don't really translate to other countries as you may expect. So it was a great opportunity for me to open my eyes to new opportunities that traveling provide. Here's me on the bus ride. Various other athletes from other countries are all on one single bus, and y'all get loaded to the starting line, which I think is very uh, interesting because, as you've probably most likely studied in social studies, it was at the foot of the Acropolis, which was really, really amazing because the view was highlighted by the lights being turned on right to focus on the Acropolis. So at the foot, and we're on cobblestone, the starting lines pulled out in front of us. Runners from all around the world, from Japan, from Uruguay, from Mexico, from Belgium, from Czech Republic, from Germany, the list goes on, are all coming together to share in the collective pursuit of making it to Sparta. But a journey like this doesn't happen with just one person. Fortunate for myself, I had an amazing support crew that was there with me, including my parents and my girlfriend. Here's a picture of us right before the start. And without their help, without them helping me along the way with food, with water, with extra clothes, with encouragement, this journey definitely would not have been as fulfilling and definitely would not be possible without their help. So I don't know if you were able to tell from that photo, I wasn't barefoot, but I was wearing special footwear. These are formerly known as Huarache sandals that are specific to me because I enjoy minimalist running. I enjoy I enjoy being barefoot as much as possible. However, there are times when the terrain, when the road, when the trail is just too sharp or it has too many stones, little things that you might step on that might just bring your awareness and your focus away from running. So putting those sandals on was definitely a smart idea as a lot of the course was littered with debris that might have stopped my journey early. And also, Pheidippides wore sandals. And knowing that Pheidippides had covered this distance in sandals, it inspired me also to do it in this choice of footwear. So the race is 153 miles long, but you don't get to 153 miles in just 1 second. It takes moments, it takes mile after mile. Here's a picture of me running along the coast in Greece, feeling fairly fresh and feeling pretty good after about 26 miles. Now, when I say feeling fresh, I'm still feeling a little tired. I'm feeling the pains of being on the road a little bit, but I'm still so full of joy because of the opportunity. I'm trying to savor my surroundings as best as I can and just be in the moment. This is a big race, and the last thing I want to do is to get overexcited and to run too fast because if you don't pace the right way, then you're going to get tired or your race may get called before you get to the finish line. One of the really cool things about the course as well is the outpouring from the public. People lined the streets all along the route from Athens to Sparta to show support to the runners, which was really awesome. People were on their patios, they were singing songs to us. Some even rode alongside us on bikes and gave us high fives. And the country's support really showed a great and a beautiful display of humanity for all peoples. And I thought that was very encouraging. One of the special sights that I particularly liked were kids about your age actually lined the streets on several sections and gave runners high fives to show their support. So that was really cool how this race transcended, maybe not even understanding the distance, but that something special was going on. So that was very touching. As the 50-mile mark neared, the heat became pretty devastating. I had been training in the summer heat for some time. However, the effects of the road and the temperature when it bakes off of the road kind of cooks you from the inside. So, needless to say, I had gotten into a very rough patch in the race and was very close to quitting, namely because I had become dehydrated. Now, fortunate to to myself, there was a runner and support crew from another country, if you're familiar with Israel, who actually helped administer some aid to me in that moment. They gave me salt, they gave me lemon, and they just gave me a lot of encouragement to continue going. In this moment, I was really going through a tough time, so their support really helped. And how cool is that? That another country separated by so many miles was there to help me in that moment. That's how special this race was to me. And those acts of humanity really come out in full force on a platform like this. As I started feeling better, I ran over the very famous Canal of Corinth here at 50 miles, which is still used today as a major thoroughfare for imports and exports as it rips right across Greece. This is a spectacular view. The I just remember the water being so blue, and you're running over a bridge to cross this, so it's kind of nerve-wracking, a little scary, because as you look down below you, it's just a sheer 200-foot drop into water. However, the bridge was very well reinforced, so I didn't fear for my life. But still, it was amazing to literally run across a bit of history that is still used today. Now, as I may mention, I was not there by myself. I was there with my support crew. So what does the support crew do while I'm running? Well, this is my stepdad. You can probably see that he needed to take a little time to eat himself. And one of the popular entrees there in Greece is called the gyro. So he was having himself a gyro, and it's very important during a 33-hour race like this that you keep eating, because if you don't, you won't have the energy to continue. And that goes for crew too. Now, probably one of the highlights visually for me for the route was actually going through ancient Corinth. These are actually ruins that can be traced back to ancient times. And just the sight of these, even though I was doing running and I was running through this area and wasn't able to stop and really take time to savor as long as I'd like, I did take a moment just to have an experience in looking at that. And there's something really special that occurred when looking at something as old as this, is that it really helped me realize, wow, the specialty of being alive in this moment can be traced all the way back thousands and thousands of years. We have a very unique connection to the past, even though we may only see it on pages. Maybe we don't see it every day, but it is all around us. And it was very eye-opening for me to see this site because it gave me that experience. Now, as I may mention, 33 hours is a long time. Do you sleep during a race like this? The answer is no, you don't sleep. So how do you stay awake? There's a variety of methods in which you can use to stay up. I like to drink Coca-Cola. I like to drink pop that has a little bit of caffeine in it. A week prior to the race, I stopped drinking coffee in the morning. So when I did drink the Coke at about 2 a.m. or 1 a.m., I felt wide awake and with lots of energy. See, here's me just taking a little break, maybe sipping on a little pop before I get back out running, right around mile 80 or so. So another spectacular sight caught my eye as I was running through the night. It's probably 3 a.m. or so, and I had been running for many, many miles, was the site of ancient Nemea. If you touch on that in social studies class, it is a very special site that holds a lot of historical significance. But one of the sites was of an ancient ruin that was actually illuminated in blue light. And at that time, your mind is a little fuzzy. I should be sleeping, is what my body's telling me. But I'm still pushing. I'm still determined to get to my destination. So seeing a site like this illuminated at night was very, very unique, both to my eyes and helped inspire me to keep on going. Now, this is a picture of the elevation profile of the course. Now you can see this big spike right here, okay? That's at 100-mile mark. That big spike means that there is a mountain that you have to cross. All right, so I'm already pretty tired, and now you're telling me I gotta run up a mountain. Come on. But this is a very special spot in the race as Pheidippides was quoted as saying in antiquity that he actually had a visitation from the god Pan. And Pan said that in order to cross this mountain safely, then you would have to bring word of me and to the Athenian people so that they can pay my respects. In order for you to cross, you must do this. So Pheidippides was written in history that he agreed to do this. So this was a very special spot as it held significance in history. So needless to say, the mountain was actually a really cool experience. It was very cold up on the mountain. It was about 30 degrees, so I did have to put on a sweatshirt. But it was really fun because I was actually followed up the hill. I hope that you can see that little guy right there by a dog. You got to think, what's a dog doing on a mountain at 3 a.m. in the morning in Greece? Like, what's going on? I thought the same thing. But this little guy ran a total of 40 miles. I I kid you not, 40 miles from the base of the mountain up to the top of the mountain and down the mountain. This dog had a perfect pace, and it just brought joy to other runners that we were running with because he was keeping up so well with us. And it was just a funny moment. Now, getting to an aid station was always a joy. That's where you could take your rest. That's where you could receive aid, where you could drink, where you could take a little seat so you could rest your feet. This is what the aid station sign looked like. And if you look closely, it also shows you what time the aid station closes. There's hard cutoffs in this race, so you have to make sure you get from point to point to point within a specific time, because if you don't, you'll get pulled from the race and you won't be able to finish. So here's another picture of me at the aid station. You can see my crew is helping me along, and I actually got a smile on my face at this time because of all the good work that my crew did to help keep me on my race there. So after a very tough time during the night because you're struggling with a little bit of sleepiness, the sun finally rises, and that's a great experience. When the sun rose, it was really amazing to see that the landscape had shifted from a mountain to olive groves. If you're familiar with olive oil, and if you enjoy just eating olives in general, it was great to be in a land where these olive groves were miles everywhere, wherever you looked. And the peacefulness of running through the countryside after being on the road up the mountain was just a very peaceful experience. But with the new day comes the heat. The heat got to a very unbearable temperature of 97 degrees on the second day. After I had already fought dehydration on day one, going into day two was very, very difficult. I didn't want to have that circumstance happen to me, so I took special effort to slow my pace down a little bit, make sure that I stayed drinking fluids, and my crew did a great job making sure that I had ice in my hat, and also that I just kept a positive attitude. Here I am at about 140 miles, just taking another breather at the aid station. But if you see that rag in my hand, that was filled with cold water, and I just used it to damp my face and damp my arms so that I would stay as cool as possible. Okay. So the end so the end of the race is marked by touching the feet of King Leonidas, who was the king of the Spartans, and very important as he was the commanding force of the Spartan army that Pheidippides was enlisting to fight off the Persians. So getting into a Sparta is very monumental and is marked by this statue here. So after running 140 miles, what's it like actually coming into the town of Sparta? Well, it is exciting. Now, when I made mention about all of the encouragement that the countrymen of Greece were showing before we got to Sparta, it was so much more in Sparta. People were honking their horns. They were saying, "Congratulations, bravo, bravo, bravo," in various tongues of Greek. The kids were running alongside you on the sidewalk, and all of the tough times that you experienced during the run, the fatigue, the sore legs, the nausea, it all disappeared almost instantly by the sight of everybody being so excited for you when you got to Sparta. So after 153 miles of running, finally got the amazing honor to touch the feet of King Leonidas at the end of the race. There's me with the world flag on my back and representing the United States and also North Canton. It was a tremendous experience. Here I am at the very end, and what's very unique is if you see the three ladies there dressed in traditional garments, they hand you a bowl which is actually containing water from the local river. You drink that, and they put a olive wreath on your head. Now, the most endearing and inspirational moment for me was having my mom up there. She would drive me to school every single morning and drive me to practice when I was in middle school, grade school, and high school. So having mom all the way up there and knowing that we made the travel from Ohio was really, really special to me. So this is me after the race. You can imagine that I'm pretty pooped out and kind of tired. The cool thing that the race does right after you finish is that they take care of you. They wash your feet, they give you ice, they give you drinks. But the opportunity to sit down and have the American flag in my hand in that moment was very, very surreal and a moment that I'll truly remember for the rest of my life. Now you might say, "Oh man, how'd your sandals hold up? Did they break? Did they get holes in them? What happened?" Well, as you can see by this image here, they actually held up very, very nicely. And I think the key component of them uh, uh, withstanding all the rigors of the race was actually because I tried to land as lightly as I could. And over the period of many years running in minimalist footwear and being barefoot, your body starts to develop a very natural form in which you're not landing very, very heavily on the ground, but very, very softly. And I think that is why the sandals were able to hold up so well over time. So, needless to say, I still got some more life in these sandals and look forward to wearing them. But I'll always remember the special journey that they helped take me on to run from Athens to Sparta for the 40th annual Spartathlon.